Thank you for being here. This is the Zoli Montana podcast. My name is Linda, here with Zoli Althea Brown to discuss how to figure out if someone or something has malicious intent.
Ooh, icky.
Yeah.
There we go with our situational awareness again. I think that kind of training should be taught in schools. Maybe it will in the future. How do you become more aware of your inner feelings? In law enforcement and in military, you're trained for your situational awareness. You're trained to look for internally, hear things that are not cues, visual and auditory cues in the environment. Specifically, you're supposed to look beyond that. When cops get out of their cruiser and they're going up to a vehicle, they're good. They're sharp. Their situational awareness is on, or it should be. Most of them it is. If you're tramping through the jungle, if you're getting ready to go into a mission, your SA is going to be higher than normal. So how do we do that when we're at Walmart? Do you need to do that at Walmart? Maybe Walmart more than other places. No, it's a practice. And I think what it has to do with is trusting yourself. And it takes time. Kids are really good with it. Kids will tell you exactly what Aunt JoJo is like if you ask them. And then they may get punished for it. But they got it. They got it figured out. Dogs are good at this. These are not humans. Dogs are not humans. It takes practicing. And how can you tell if an entity has malicious intent? You can't always do that. Anything from the astral realm is going to be iffy. I'm not against channeling, but you don't really know who you're talking to or why you're talking to them. So that's why my writing, if there is channeled writing from the 80s, I say this is channel. And it might be very beautiful. There's some amazing channeled work out there. But how do you know what it is? You have to feel it. Is it a truth to you? What do you think about that, Linda? It's a very difficult subject.
Yeah, I think it is intuition based, and it's the trick or the practice is in tuning to your intuition, which can be a challenge.
And how do you tune into intuition? What is it?
I was going to ask you that.
I don't have all these answers. I'm a researcher and an analyst. The intuition is your inner sense. And what even does that mean? Everybody knows what it is, but we can't really define it. Is it undefinable? I don't know. It's your sense of who you are in a different way other than dealing with the five physical senses. I think, I can be wrong, I think it's a 50-50 thing. We run around during the day, we wake up, and we attune to the physical world. We have to use our five physical senses to do that. However, there are also inner senses, and it's half and half. Do we attune to both at the same time? They say you can't really multitask. They say that you're really attuning to one thing and another maybe very quickly. Geminis and Sag, they're great at that. I'm not good at it. I'm just not. I'm too slow, I think. But tuning into who you are, it's a nebulous statement. How do you do it? You have to feel it. You have to feel. And in order to feel, you have to trust. You have to have some time that's quiet. You have to have some awareness of quiet time and how you're different then than if you're out in the world. And I think that's it. To try to find out how you're different and to pull those senses in.
That's really interesting. And I think you're right about having time to notice how you're different or how you're sensing something a little different. And it seems to me that the intuition or the spiritual awareness is somewhat connected to or it tickles our five senses, our physical senses.
Well, it should. It should make us more aware. Why would we not be trained to be aware out in the physical world? Why would we not? I mean, we're aware, hopefully, when we're driving. We're driving a 6,000-pound vehicle. We should be aware of that, but we get used to it. And that's what happens in the physical world. We get complacent and we get used to things and we forget to turn that sense on again. If so-called something starts to happen, the hair on the back of our neck goes up. That's a very real thing. Anybody that has had a scary experience, meaning everybody, you can tell the difference between when that happened, before it happened, and after it happened. How are you different each of those times?
What would your advice to people be if they're not quite certain about some of the senses they're experiencing, if it's unfamiliar to them or it makes them uncomfortable?
Well, I'm uncomfortable a lot. It's just a practice. It's something that we have to practice. I think I wrote you this morning a new notes for my nieces and about the old Zen koan. Before I was enlightened, I chopped wood and carried water. After I was enlightened, I chopped wood and carried water. And I thought, where does the water go? Where does the wood go? What do you do with it? And I think that's the difference. What we did with it before awareness is different than what we're going to do with it after awareness. What that is, I don't know what it is. You have to try, you have to practice, you have to ask yourself. You are surrounded all the time with dozens, if not hundreds, of beings. David beings, animal creatures in spirit, people who loved you, your guidance, your guardians, this sort of thing. You're surrounded all the time. You're supposed to ask for help. We're not alone. But the challenge of Earth, one of them is that guess what? I really feel alone because I'm trying to use my physical senses to sense all that, and you can't do it.
That's the frustrating part of it is that loneliness feels so vast, and yet we're connected to each other and all these other beings. How do
Oh,
we how do we
that's
meet
Earth.
ourselves there?
It's just Earth. It's not going to change. That's one of the, I think one of the agreements of Earth. It's like the game board that we play on when we come here. You'll be unsure of yourself. You're going to have a hard time. You're going to have good times too. You try to be the light in dark situations. All those things that are said are valid, but they're not valid all the time. And the challenge is to move yourself around the game board and find out where you fit and where can you do the most good. Can you be kind? Can you be loving? Can you keep people out of your life who have no business being in your life? Social mores will ruin your life sometimes. We've discussed that before. What you're allowed to do in certain societies is different than what you're allowed to do in other societies. We tend to keep a lot in our life past the time when it can do any good for anybody. How do you exit it? You just do. You don't always owe an explanation. And that takes some situational awareness. It also takes trying to avoid situations that are going to hurt you. And that can take some time. There's self-esteem involved in that, trying to be reasonable. How can you be reasonable? Being reasonable has nothing to do with your religion, your politics, your culture. Ask yourself, what do I need to be doing? And try to get away from the emotional reactivity of what other people are going to think. It's very hard to do because we're cultural in society. But try, see what happens. You may encourage other people to do that too.
It seems so easy to get stuck in your emotions, but the idea of just keep trying, it gives a way out without having to know what direction you're going.
Getting stuck in the emotions is part of the drama and is part of the lesson. If we feel stuck, what do we try to do? We want to get out of it. You know, if we're stuck in the past, we don't like that. There's a lot of methods, a lot of classes learning how to move out of all that. But you have to find more about how you are, and you're not going to be the same. You're going to go through different stages in your life. You're going to become somebody you probably don't even know. That's how your parents can say, I don't even know who you are anymore. Good. You're becoming who you are. I remember Benjamin Creme once said, he said, the only purpose that he thinks of parenthood is to teach you how to survive in the world. Otherwise, he called his son boy. You know, I'm not exactly there, but I get that. We're trying to detach from things that emotionally stick us. And we'll convince ourselves that we're going to be hurt if we don't do those things. It's just how society works. Society's not bad. We need it. But how do we fit in and how do we not fit in?
That's one thing I love about the reality pirate, who we affectionately call RP, and you write about him a lot in your books. But he doesn't get stuck in one place. He has the ability to pirate reality. So talk about how we can use that example.
Well, first of all, he's not real. He's a shapeshifter. He's in my mind. He's the part of me that's the pirate the pirate archetype that escapes from anything just by leaving. That's what I did a lot when I was younger. I didn't like where I was, I'd just get out of it. I must have moved, I'd have to count 20 times from the age 21 to 25. Back and forth to Nashville, Nashville to Birmingham, Nashville to Birmingham, Nashville to Pensacola, Pensacola to wherever, because I thought that if I left where I was, I'd be different. No matter where I went, there I was. You know that one? So
Mhm.
I had to grow out of that. I had to change and grow. So the reality pirate is still doing that. I made him a womanizer, an addict, but he's like a 16-year-old kid. He's very loving, but he's clumsy. He doesn't know what to do with himself. He's always hungry. And the reality pirate's adventures, he's always doing something that he thinks is very important. He's always confused because we're always confused, except when we're not. You know what I mean by that? We're trying to figure things out all the time. Humans, we are these learning creatures, and we can't learn something unless we go towards it. We have to go towards that. And that's what the reality pirate does. We call him RP. I've got a couple artists that have worked with Zoli. Nobody works for Zoli. We all work together with collaboratively. Cartoon Bob wrote the reality pirate. He illustrated this great book on that. Now we have Kevin, who's going to coffee down in San Francisco, and he's illustrating the Persephone's pup, which reality pirate goes into hell and meets Persephone, and she's a valley girl. So I took a lot of artistic license. But we'll write more about the art about the reality pirate as we go on. I think he's kind of alive in everybody. He's that little sense of hope and silliness. He doesn't have a mean bone in his body. He just doesn't. And we all like to be around people like that.
Yes, as a reminder to take life a little less seriously and to have fun, even when you're in sticky situations.
Well, that's been a hard one for me because I apparently am always working. Who in their right mind writes 8 books in a year? Last year was a crazy year. But numerologically, I was in a 4 year, which means get it all out, get the past out. And now we're doing things a little bit differently. It took me a long time to want to do these podcasts, to put myself out there like that. But I like being silly. I like these costumes. I like my studio. And I like trying to offer my opinion about what my life is and how I get through these things to encourage people just be yourself. Find out who you are. Find that out. Use everything you can, everything you know, apply that to yourself and be outrageous without being mean. Just be who you are. I've got a niece. My brother's youngest daughter is just like that. Oh my God, she's this indigo kid. Iris has always been able to be like that. I've got a lot of nieces, but she's the one that's most reality pirate-ish. So I see it in action.
That's wonderful. And a lot of these nieces have inspired you to come up with these notes that are little bits of wisdom for women at all ages and stages in life.
You know, the notes to my nieces was something that last year I never saw it coming. I thought, why would I give so called advice? I'm not Dear Abby. I'm not her daughter. I'm not that person. But when I started seeing my mother in spirit from the other side, she started reminding me of these hysterical things that she used to say and her wisdom. She was very wise. She had a lot to say, and she's still saying it. And I have my nieces. I have three through my brother's family. I have some on the Rosebud Sioux Reservation, where I'm a member of the Hunka family there. I have some from my birth family that I just met 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And there are a lot of nieces out in the world, these young women that older women like me, crones that you can talk to when you're out in public to say something kind. You know, when you're young, I don't know what age all you gals are, if you are gals, but when you're young, what you really crave is some sort of givingness and acceptance from older women. You're like, how did you get there? Please help me. So say something kind. And if they're drop dead gorgeous, tell them that. I had my time, have your time. It's time for you to shine. There's always something that you can do. And there's the intuition. What if every morning you woke up, you did what my parents did every day the minute they got up, and my grandfather, William Engel, did the same thing. Thank you, God, for the opportunity to serve today. Thank you for that opportunity. Put me where I can serve. You may be busy. You may have 5 kids. You may have 3 horses, 2 dogs, 7 cats, a job, a busy husband, an old person to take care of. But how are you serving? That's how you serve. You don't have to go work for the Red Cross. There's always ways just to be out in public. And if you're having a hard day, somebody will pass that forward to you too. This is the reciprocity of sharing that they talk about in Share International, that the Maitreya work speaks of, to share. And we are moving into a brilliant future for this planet. Don't get depressed about it, because I'm telling you, change can get you depressed because things aren't happening fast enough and structures are going away. But we are headed for a magnificent future. Ecologically, we're going to straighten things out. It may take some time. Politically, spiritually, we're going to get rid of the wars on the planet. Believe it or not, that is what's happening. It doesn't look like that because it's messy right now. Life is messy and dramatic, but I'm here to tell you, I'm not going to lie to you. That's what's coming.
That's so beautiful and hopeful. And I love the bit about asking God to put you where you're needed or where you could be of service. So that also changes your perspective when you're out in the world, or if you find yourself in a situation you don't think you want to be in, maybe that is exactly where you need to be.
It usually is. We magnetically, those of us in theosophy and other such woo woo areas, God knows, my husband calls it, he's right. We know that nothing comes to us that we haven't attracted in some way. Here's the clue. How do you get rid of the attractions? How do you get rid of those magnetic tickets inside of you that pay for something icky to happen? Sometimes it's just life. Well, why did you get attracted? Why did that get attracted to you and not something else? Don't blame yourself for it. This can be ancestral. There are ancestral curses. People can curse at you in traffic. So you need a shield. You need to be able to shield yourself too. There's a method called body code, emotion code. I can go on and on about that. I use it a lot. And what it does is it removes the magnetic tags from your body. There is EFT. There are things that have been used in the VA that are energetic treatments. Can you see it happening? No, you can't. But this is what's happening on the planet. This is the technology of light. And light lives inside of you. It's what you really are. And that's what's changing this earth. That is what's happening. And when you're uplifted, if I can say something like that to uplift you, made my day. Many times when I'm out in public, I'm thinking, what the holy hell is going on? Why am I encountering this person? Well, maybe they needed to encounter me too. I always try to be kind. Just try to be kinder. As my mother said, if you can't say anything nice, don't say a damn thing. I had that pounded into my head. I'm an old Southern woman and I just can't help it. I just don't want to be mean to people. That said, once again, there are people who should not be in your life. There are over 8 billion people on the planet. Who are you letting in? And how are they bullying themselves into your life, into your way? And how are you doing that to them? We're all boundary violators. We want what we want. We're just people. Give it a break. We're just human beings. I was going through, I think I talked about this last month. I was going through Starbucks last year, and the gal said I was going through the line getting my coffee in my truck. And she said, oh, it's already been paid for. The person in front of you paid it forward. And I thought, oh my God, that feels so good. I'm going to do that. So these little bitty things that you don't expect, that are unexpected, they treat the soul. They treat the soul with an energy field. And it's like you've been put in this capsule of warmth. And that's what you want to do for yourself. And that's what you want to do for other people. Can I do it all the time? Hell no. Just ask my husband. Oh my God, there is just no way. A couple of years ago, I was talking so much. I was recording some new CDs and I was hoarse. I could barely talk. And he started laughing. I said, you like that, don't you? And I'm not talking. He said, I thought I would, but I missed it.
That's adorable.
So you never, I said, so there's barefoot and pregnant, nonverbal, but we're just people. We're just people. For God's sakes, give it a break. And we will drive each other batshit crazy because we want what we want. We want to feel comfortable. How dare you disrupt my comfort? That's where temperance comes in. That's where reticence comes in. And that's where a little patience with the other person's behavior comes in. I love people. I've always loved people, but I don't always like people behavior and they don't like mine. So this is where the temperance has to come in. And temperance also has to do with being, I said, reticence. And that is like a situationally awareness. That is your situational awareness also. When you can tell when to talk and when not to talk. Can you control what comes out of your mouth and what goes into it? Try it. It's not easy.
That is a tough one.
It is for me. But that's why I didn't become a counselor. I didn't become a therapist. I didn't become a minister in a church or a rabbi. I didn't do any of that because I'm a researcher and I'm an analyst. That's all that I am. I research this and analyze my own life and say, I'm going to put this out because you can't fire me. You can say anything you want about me online. I don't care because I never look at it. So I'm just going to try to be honest. I'm an almost 71-year-old old Southern woman who's finally listening to herself and to the dead people around me that say, say this, say that, because they can be pretty smart.
That's beautiful. It's the collaboration goes beyond the
Always.
physical.
It really does. And our last podcast, I spoke about when I really realized that my mom was still here. She's on the other side, like astral level 4. And she's got a lot to say. She's very different. She's very different. She's calmer than she was because she doesn't have the emotional tag. She has burnt her karma. So she wants to be involved and give back. When you are on the other side, when you have shed your physical body, and thank God we can do that. Who wants to live in this thing forever? When you shed that and you're on the other side, you are still learning. You are learning and growing as above, so below. When you go to the other side, you will be exactly where you believe you will be. You will be on, if you think you're going to live at your old house, you'll see that and it'll be there. Things don't change boom, boom, boom like that, but they can change. That's a whole nother subject I don't want to get into now. But not only are they still alive on the other side, but they got a lot to say. But see, that's all a channeling thing. It comes from the astral realm. But I think when you have a direct contact, as I do, as anybody does, who has loved ones on the other side or pieces of your soul group, about 1,100 people, only a few of you are in the physical. You've got a lot of help. So you better have boundaries there too. There was time, God, it was back in the early 80s, 70s and 80s when I was working with the Zeta Reticuli, getting this thing called interdimensional physics. Didn't know what it was. I have a disability in math. I can't even add them. Dumb shit. So I started getting all this language stuff written in numbers. I didn't know what it was. They drove me crazy. Finally, I said, just leave me alone. I'm going into town. I'm getting these downloads and I'm trying to write on napkins and all this stuff. I've got a trunk full of this stuff. Didn't know what it was until I became dear friend, as he is with me, with Ray Hernandez. And we'll talk about Ray. I hope to get him on here. In fact, he said he will do a podcast with us. The Mind of God. He has written tomes about this. The first time I talked to Ray years ago, he said, we were all getting these downloads of all these numbers. I said, oh my God, I don't even know who these people are. This whole group of us were getting them. Still got them. I don't know what they are. When I was writing them, it was very clear. I couldn't transcribe it without my hand going very fast. It was a transmission download, like an Intel dump, So that is also intuition. Everybody on this planet has intuition. Everybody has what you call psychic abilities and skills. Some people shouldn't have anything to do with it. because it will ruin what they're trying to do. Maybe they came here just to work with Earth. Maybe that's what they came here to do. I don't know. But everybody matters. It all matters. It doesn't matter how old your soul is, how evolved you are. Most people who think they're evolved, they're not. They're just trying to convince you that because they don't know. Get out of that. Just look at the person in front of you. That person's just like you. And you will attract the people to you that you need, and they need something. It could be a word. It could be, get out of my life. You're not appropriate for me, or I'm not appropriate for you. Or it can be a lifelong friendship, or you can collaborate. We don't know. So you have to use your senses there too. It's a tricky world. It's sneaky. It's more cat-like than dog. Think about the difference between a cat and a dog. You know, we had this pit bull named Gargoyle, looked just like a gargoyle at the farm in Olympia. Gargoyle weighed 100 pounds. Gargoyle was everybody's friend, knew everybody. Anyway, I don't get on about pit bull Staffordshire. I love red-nosed staffies. That's what he was, red-nosed staffy. Totally different from a cat. Our cat is going to look at you up and down and walk off. The dogs are just, so that's what I'm talking about. Which one are you? Are you a dog and a cat? Are you somewhere in between? Some things are appropriate and some things aren't. But these are just my thoughts. I'm just a person. Figure it out yourself. Ask for help.
What would you say to somebody
and
who...
don't follow me, because I don't know where I'm going.
What advice would you give somebody that says they're asking for help, but they're not hearing an answer?
Ask somebody else. Ask somebody else. Maybe who they're asking, they're not even there. I don't know. I don't. And so, here's what's fun about that. And we all do that. Like, oh my God. Well, when you're in school and you're taking a test, the teacher isn't telling you the answers. You can't say, oh, I don't want this test. It's too hard. Would you fill it out for me? Oh, sure, honey, I'll do that. Come on. That's what happens. But by asking for help, we have to do it. Nobody's coming here to save your ass. Nobody's coming here to end the world so you don't have to pay your rent. Nobody's coming to rescue you. You have to do the work. You do the work and you will get that help at the appropriate time.
So don't give up even if you don't have the answer you're wanting. Just keep listening and keep doing the work.
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes I've given up, and the fact that I gave up, I got the answer. Because I can be irascible, Scottish. There just aren't die-hard answers to everything, Linda. It's just not there, and we want them. I want them too. But it has to do with appropriateness, discernment, your situational awareness. It has to do with tuning in and getting better at it. And if you try, you will get better at it. And you'll make a lot of mistakes. We all do.
That reminds me of, I think it's in the Reality Pirate's Guide to the Astral World and Dreams, where you talk about how dreams and even the astral world itself is very different, and it's moving. So there's no certainties, and there's no, you could think you're channeling Napoleon when it's really not, sort of thing.
There's a lot of that going on. There's a lot. There are people in the astral realm that think they're angels. And so they get channeled as angels. They're not, but they think they are. And so they may give you some great shit, but they're not angels. It's Disneyland over there. It's magnificent. You remember that movie with Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come?
Yes.
Did you ever see that?
Oh, yes. Beautiful.
Where somebody dies, commits suicide. Oh my God. That was the truest thing that I've ever seen in cinema about how the astral realm is. The truest thing. Even the Pope had said, there is no specific hell. You send yourself there by your thoughts. It's not a specific place. Everything is energy and is frequency. We won't get into that. We talk about that a lot in the books too. But what you think and what you imagine when you go to the other side, you will find it. That's why it's important to lift yourself up. The time of death is very important. If you have orange in the room, that'll help people cross over. You don't want to do anything with that body for 3 days. Give it 72 hours for the other bodies to dissipate. Your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, and which other one? Oh my gosh. Anyway, those things need to return to where they're going, and you cross over with those memories and a seed atom that lives behind your heart and the soul. And that seed atom goes from one life to the next. It contains all the memories of who you've been and who you're going to be. It doesn't end. Consciousness never ends. When we eventually, everyone on this planet and above, how many millions of people finally, and how many thousands of years, evolve off this planet because there are no more infant souls coming in, where do you go? The world is more than the world. There are cosmos, there are universes that we don't know, but it never ends, ever ends. You will never die. Only your bodies will. You get new ones. Why is that? Do you know how ridiculous it is to freeze your body and say you're going to come back in that body? Or you want your dog to come back because you've cloned it? You can't do that. And you know you can't do that. You know it.
You can't clone a soul.
No, you can't. We're so attached to the physical form. Physical form is fun. I love costumes. I love this room. I love the physical world. It's nice. It's wonderful. I'll be glad to get out of it and go somewhere else. That'll be really cool because it never ends. It's the reality pirate. You pirate from one reality to the next, honey. It never ends. Once God creates your soul and you are cast out of the isthmus, when you're cast into that, it begins your journey. Whenever that happened for each person, I don't know. But while we're here to do good, to love mercy, walk humbly with God, to be kind to people, to try to forgive ourselves. If we can forgive ourselves, we can forgive other people. It's a process. And what about some of these people that are no longer in your life? When you think about them, it doesn't mean that you need to reconnect. That's part of the grieving process. Remember that you cannot move forward with everybody in your life that's always been in it, and they can't either. That's what's cool. So bless and release, detach and move on.
That is a beautiful thought to strive for. And when things seem hard, I want to go back to what you were talking about, how our thoughts create hell. And if that's not reason enough to keep trying and to keep lifting ourselves up, I don't know what is.
It's an individual thing. The whole idea of hell was, I think, created by the priesthoods to keep people in line. Priests aren't bad. That's not it. Every religion has a dogma. It's not all bad. I'm not going to get into that. But I think that our thoughts are very important. If we can control our thoughts and try to reel in, it's like fishing. You throw something out there, what are you going to pull back in?
And thoughts really are the one thing we do have control of. Even though we don't control the thoughts that come, we can control the thoughts that we keep and the thoughts that we believe.
Up to a point, I think. It has to do with our point of evolution. It has to do with how aware we are. Are we batshit crazy? Are we kind of crazy? Are we normal? Are we abnormal? There are so many factors, psychological, neurological, cultural. We have to try. I harp on that because it's all we have is our ability to try. Just try. See what happens.
Sounds easy.
It's not. Why come to earth and be here to spiritualize matter, to add light and love to the physical world if it's not going to be difficult? And why are there no female masters attached to this earth right now? Is it because there's no women's lib in the masters world? No. It's because there's too much feminine energy on the planet. Oh my God. Now, what does she mean by that? The material world is all feminine energy. We are obsessed with the material. You see that?
Hmm.
Intuition is feminine also. Your willpower is feminine energy. We're putting energy into that and trying it. But the material world, I wonder if there's ever been this much stuff on the planet. Has there ever been this much stuff? And what
No.
is it about this planet that makes us so attached to physical stuff? Here's something funny. And I think of the weirdest shit. I don't know where my mind goes. I was at the grocery store a couple of weeks ago and I had my stuff out of the cart and I'm talking. I talk to everybody. They think I'm either insane or fun. Maybe both. So I'm talking away to the checker and the people behind me. And I look and I have my stuff on the line. You put the little stick there to divide it. And I realized I put the stick in the wrong place. And I thought, at what point is something yours when you're shopping? Is it yours when it's in the cart? Is it yours when you have taken it and placed it on the conveyor belt? Or is it yours after you've paid for it? Well, just let somebody come grab some peanuts out of your cart. We're possessive of things because that's what we depend on. Now, some people would laugh, oh my God, it's the wrong cart. Some people would get upset. It's like human nature. It's just human nature. But how we interact with other people, if we can catch ourselves and go, oh my God, I did that. Those were like my peanuts. Then you go, oh, that's funny. Don't worry about it. We have to catch ourselves being human. You're not going to fix all of it because you will die from this earth plane still being a human and still doing weird shit. We just do. That's just all that it is. So I harp on this thing of just try. You will make mistakes. You will do weird stuff. You will do good stuff, mean stuff. But the awareness and the situational awareness of that, the intuition is to recognize, oh my God, I just did that. Isn't that interesting? And then we project onto other people about what they're doing when we're really afraid you're going to see me doing it. That's also part of human nature. We have this great counselor. I talk about him a lot, Dr. David Stube. And David is amazing. He says, in marriage, you'll disagree 70% of the time. Just do it lovingly. Well, good luck. Good luck with that. But he says we also, and this is family systems therapy, says what we do is we project onto people all the time. Look at it this way. You're at a gathering, you meet somebody, you never met them, and what we automatically do is we judge how they look, what they say, what they smell like, what they're eating, who they're with. We are collecting intel. And judging doesn't mean going like this, it means collecting. Then once we think we've collected enough information, we've decided we know what they are. And we've decided we know how to treat them. So that's what we do. And you know what usually happens? It's not good. We do it all the time. Well, that person looks like this, or this, so I'll treat them like that. And they're not. We do it all the time.
That's so
We're
true.
insane. This is human. This is why I keep harping on this. We're just people. We can't help from being people. So give it a break and have some fun with it and try to be kind to yourself. When I do that, my life goes better. When I don't, I'm caught in my own shit. And it's very obvious.
And do you uncatch yourself?
Sometimes it depends on how irritated I am, how dramatic I am. You know, I can be dramatic. I'm raising all this theatrical stuff. But drama doesn't mean hurting people and it doesn't mean being bad to yourself or others. It means it's emotional or it's exciting. So is it exciting and emotional because it's fun and lighthearted and you're uplifting people, or are we trying to get attention? We do both. We're just people. Sometimes we can be these 2-year-olds trying to decide, is it me? Is it not me? Is it safe? Is it not safe? But we all do the same behavior. That's why we're voyeuristic. We like to watch TV shows about other people doing things, right? Sit in an airport. I love to people watch an airport. And of course, I've decided who everybody is because I know everything sometimes if I'm insecure. Everything I do, you do. Everything you do, I do. Just some of us do it more or less.
That's true. That's why I fully believe in collaboration and our discussions here, and
Oh, yeah.
inviting people to try and think of things a little differently and maybe listen to something they haven't heard before.
Well, I like to do that. I joke about people who say they're tired of being the smartest one in the room. Well, then you don't learn a darn thing. And I guarantee you, you're not. You're just afraid that people will think that you're not.
Right.
We learn from people. We learn from being around people with gifts that they have gifts that we don't. And that's what collaboration is about. That's what the age of Aquarius is about. This 2,500-year cycle started 625, New Age. The old age started going out 1675. The New Age started coming in. Now we're in it fully. And you can only do things in a group. There's 3 people or more. If you want your dreams to come true, you have to do it with other people. You have to find that collaboration. You have to find where the magnetism, you draw to yourself what is the best options. When we do that, our lives go well.
That's so true. We bring out the best in other people's beautiful gifts, and other people bring out the best in ours.
There's real kindness, and especially with kids. Just think if kids were taught that in school.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
know, is it nice to have sports and competition? Heck yeah, because life can be competitive. You're going to lose some. You're going to win some. Not everybody gets to be a special snowflake and gets a prize. You don't get that. Don't be a spoiled brat. You got to try and you got to give other people a break. And that's exactly what we're talking about. In collaboration, you look for the best in other people and you try to present your best to them. And then sit back and see what happens.
Yeah. You made me think of when my kids were littler, we used to have they came up with this. They would have when they wanted to have a race or to do something, they would have a competition. So it wasn't competitive. It wasn't about who won. It was just to have fun and to take part and to see how everyone could improve from their own personal best. And I always liked that because they weren't big on competition when they were small. They always wanted to do things together.
You raised them like that. That's why they're like that.
They haven't been
That
to
didn't just
school
fall
either,
out of the
so
sky.
that's a big part of it.
Right. Homeschooled. That's right. So
Yeah.
you taught them that. My brother and I we've never had a fight ever in our lives.
Wow.
I'm almost 71. He's 60. What is he? 3.5 years younger than me. Do the math. I can't add. But we never had a fight. Our parents raised us to love each other. Plus, he's a very evolved human being. He's an amazing person. He's absolutely brilliant. But parents will raise you to be a certain way. If you can get that, if it's a good way, stick with it. That's exactly what you did.
And it's about trying. It goes back to what you were talking about. It's a matter of trying. If you don't know how to parent differently than you were raised, or how to do achieve your goals, or how to get your kids to stop fighting, just try, and that's it.
Yeah, there's a lot of help out there also. I think more so now than there was when I was growing up in Alabama in the 1950s. Oh my God, who knew
Yeah.
anything?
Yeah.
You needed a passport to go there. I think that movie said that, and it's absolutely true. It was beautiful and wonderful in a lot of ways, but things are very different now as they should be. And in 20 years, just wait. Wait till you see what this
Mm.
world's going to be.
The
And be a
possibilities
part
are
of it.
amazing.
Yeah, and be a part of it. Start now. Start now to pick something every day you can do to make your life or somebody you love just a little better. What can you do that would be surprising or consistent? What can you do? Just one little thing. And you'd be surprised what that can do because people tend to act how we treat them. They will act out how they're treated.
That's right. I think that's a good place to leave it as a poignant reminder that it just takes one small thing, and if everybody can do one small act of kindness, we'll be already opening up the world to amazing possibilities.
That's hopeful and nice, but it won't happen. Not everybody's anything except eat, breathe, poop, sleep, but the abstract ideal is absolutely what I'm going for. So I'll let you know.
Fair enough. Just keep trying. We'll stick with that.
Yeah, I'm there. Thank you,
Wonderful.
Linda.
Thank you so much, Zoli, and thank you for everyone listening. Please reach out with any questions or comments. You can find us at zoliartmontana.com.
Thank you.